Welcome to the Hooked Pod. I'm Chunk.
And I'm the Chippy. And today we have Bomber Farrell on the pod. Bomber Farrell has caught many sailfish in his time. He's actually tagged 1,000. By the look of his Instagram and his Facebook and everything else, he's been fishing for many years, and he's a very passionate fisher. And I believe he's a very passionate Hawks fan as well. Is that right, Bomber?
Well, I'll tell you what, firstly, it's a pleasure to be on the podcast with you guys. It's a great honour, and thanks for thinking of us. And yes, a very passionate Hawks fan. I've been for many years, originally from Melbourne, so AFL is in the blood. And yes, fishing has then come along and turned into basically my life.
Can they win the premiership this year?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what I want to hear.
They're in with a chance, I think.
I've still got Hawthorn in me blood because we had our uncle play many years ago. Even though I'm a West Coast, I'm like the rest of my family, I'm still a Hawks fan. While you're working away there, mate, we want to talk to you about your sailfish endeavours, which have been going on for a long time. I think I've sent 2 tags to the Billfish Foundation. How many have you sent to the Billfish Foundation, mate? You lost count?
A little bit more than 2. A bit over 1,000.
500 times.
Yeah, a couple of times, mate. Yeah, a few times. I sort of, something happened there, and just all of a sudden it just was on.
Yeah.
You're a chippy, and you went to work up Grout Island, which, if anybody doesn't know where it is, it's in the Gulf of Carpentaria, Northern Territory, and you worked there for many years. And I'm quite fascinated to find out how you actually got into tagging sailfish, and 1,000 of them. Where did it all start, Bomber? How did you actually find those sailfish in the first place?
When I got to, I was lucky enough to get a job on Grout Island, which is like, if you know Grout Island, it's not really a tourist destination, but it's unbelievable fishing for everything, really.
Yeah, manganese mine or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, manganese. So
yep.
They used to harden steel and stuff like that. So basically I got a job out there actually at the start as a chippy, and it was a pretty good gig, and I thought, this is pretty good and the fishing's good, and I'm like, I'm sucked in. And I thought, I'll stay here for a few years. This will be pretty good. And the next thing you knew, I was like, I think it took me a year. Then all of a sudden, president of the fishing club.
Oh, wow.
I'm not bad at sort of organising stuff, I guess you could say. I've sort of been known to organise a couple of things, and I just had a few ideas and a few things and a bit of foresight with a couple of things maybe. And all of a sudden, I was president of the fishing club. And then all of a sudden, I did live in Coral Bay for a little tiny bit of time. And I think I had like fish on a bucket list, I suppose you could say, to catch. And one of them was a billfish.
Yep.
That I wanted to catch myself. I'd been involved with a few captures while I lived in Coral Bay, and it was like, for the few opportunities I had to do it, it was one of those things that was like, I've sort of got to get into that. And then after fishing on Groot for a little while, they have a billfish tournament every year. We're up to, this year in 2025 will be the 39th annual.
Wow.
And basically back in the day, I think 89 when it first started, 89 or 8 hours before that, basically they had a bounty. If you caught a fish, you won the bounty, and they'd be sort of jackpotted and whatever, because they were so elusive. No one really knew how to catch them, and they'd be trolling around doing all these things. And so when I got there in 06, I fished, my first one was the 19th Billfish tournament. I think we'd been down a couple of times, and I'd caught one before, and, we missed a lot. As I look back, like most people who go bill fishing, that's just the hard yards you've got to do. But because it was a very unique fishery with these sailfish, and people didn't really have much exposure or experience to catching them, I think I then started to sort of go on a quest of, we've got to catch these things. And I had a fair bit of time off doing an even time roster, 4 days on, 4 days off, and I had a fair bit of time to sort of kill, I suppose you could say. So I would go down in the build-up months of the year, September, October, November, December, and we'd have a fair few beers just quietly.
The odd meat pie, I reckon, too. I've seen you eat the odd meat pie on a boat.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely have. You got a pie warmer is essential.
Yep.
Oh, mate, I remember, it's so funny now, I think about it, you reflect back and you go, 2008 on my boat, we got the first one, and that one was just, it was amazing. It was actually the day after Hawthorn beat Geelong by 26 points. in the grand final that we weren't meant to win, that we won, at 9:30 in the morning. And I reckon we left by about 11 because I was just beside myself. I can't believe what we've skippered and caught our own fish and whatever.
And the Hawks have a win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big.
and the Hawks had a win.
What a
But
weekend.
I know it was a huge weekend. And we sort of we went from there 2008, 2009, 2010 of like just slowly learning, going down, catch one or two fish, maybe see three or four, just trolling around aimlessly, looking out the back of the boat. And then we started to see things and you start to pick up on things and observe, oh yeah, these birds, maybe the fish hold there. Then you start seeing fish bait balling because like by default, you've just gone near these birds and you're like, geez, there's a sailfish just like right on that bait ball. And, then I started to realize, oh no, I've got to get binoculars. And then I started to pitch bait a bit because I was like, oh, those birds would go over near there. Then you'd troll past, the fish would pull into the spread and you'd catch one and you'd drop a couple. Then, yeah, I started to switch bait because of the conversion rate. And then 2011, it just exploded. I think I just had so many opportunities to catch fish that you sort of started to work out what they're doing and how to catch them. And
Yeah, it's evolved over many years for you, hasn't it? Where you've found different ways to catch them and better ways to catch them.
yeah, that's basically it, mate. I'll tell you what, the first 3 years were the hardest 3 years of the apprenticeship, but I'll tell you what, then
Just
we
putting the
got
hours in.
cracking. Yeah, we got cracking with it, and then we had some days down there in the end. It was just, I know this sounds really weird, but like by the end, I'd literally had people on the boat and we'd go down because it's a fair mission to go bill fishing out of Groot. It's not like fishing out of Exmouth and that where you just duck out from the boat around 10, 15 minutes, put the gear in.
Yeah.
On a good day, it's an hour and a half trip to 2 hours one way in good weather
Yeah.
to get there in open water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You're getting up early, all the gear, and you don't have a big boat either, 6.5 metre or so. I mean, you've got a lot of gear on that boat, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a solid crew with you? Or different people all the time?
Oh, mate, different people. I think I kept a tally over the years on my little Excel spreadsheet of like each of the seasons, like numbers we'd catch. And I used to write little comments depending on the moon phase and whatever, but I stopped doing that after a while. But then I kept another list of like the people who, what I call the cherry poppers. So the people who caught their first one. And I think it was about 138.
Wow.
I think, cherries.
That's fantastic.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
First billfish. And it wasn't uncommon to sort of travel all the way down, no autopilot back in the day when I first started, which would have been made my life a bit easier.
Yeah.
And I remember days of fishing down there where, I've got people on the boat I've had people who've never even caught a fish and their first fish is a sailfish.
Yeah.
And it's exciting when you get those fish on, isn't it? I've done a little bit up Exmouth, with me brother in Coral Bay, but when you hook something and she's coming out of the water at 100 mile an hour, about 100k an hour, it gets the boat, the adrenaline pump and everything, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, totally. No, I loved it in the end. It was just the adrenaline. I just would get white line fever, mate, as soon as I went round South Point. Anything could happen. You could have a day where it was going to be one or two fish or the odd 0-day fish or, you get 20. So it just depends on how the season was going. But in those good years, I'd literally tell people, no, I'll guarantee you we'll get one today, which I know is stupid to do sail fishing or any type of fishing. But, man, I used to just work so hard with trying to get those fish. I'd do anything, really just, make full commitment to catching them, and I love it.
Yeah.
You're living in Exmouth at the moment, Bomber, and are you going back to Groot every now and then to catch the odd sailfish still? Barramundi fishing maybe?
Nah. Oh, barras. No, I don't mind the old barras, but nah, mate, to be honest, Exmouth Groot is not an easy or cheap quick flight.
No.
So you'd fly from Learmonth to Perth.
Yeah,
Typically have to stay overnight, then get to Darwin, then get another flight over.
Yeah, it's a
I
long
would
way.
say that I have done it a few times because I used to come over and fish GameX a couple of times and come over and do a couple of things here. You'd be looking at probably a $3,000 flight return
ridiculous.
and then allow 5 days of travel there and back.
Are you likely to see a tagged fish from Grout Island in Exmouth at any time?
Never say never. because I've seen too many weird things in the ocean over all my years. It's highly unlikely to see a tagged sailfish, a tagged black marlin, I suppose, a bit more nomadic, but typically the sailfish, well, put it this way, they used to say that they'd stay within 200 nautical miles of where they were caught, but I think we've done some satellite tagging in my later years with some scientists, and we had one tag that popped off in Indonesia after 192 days at liberty, and it travelled about nearly 2,000 kilometres or something silly. So,
Yeah.
Anything's possible, mate. I'll tell you,
It's got,
and I love the recapture info. It's just amazing.
It's got to come around a lot of coves and inlets to get down to where you are now anyway.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's a long trip.
There's different strains of sailfish, and I think the more you start bill fishing, and I sort of got in, like when we started tagging the fish, because the club just tagged and the thing was on Groot, it's only a very small club, we would just all tag. Everyone just tagged the fish. That was just what you did to say you caught it for end of year captures and whatever.
Yeah.
And it was great because you've got like some solid data basically. At the end of the day, like when we did the scientific work with CDU, Charles Darwin University, they could then use that information, and you can, for a scientist to make any informed decision, they've got hard data, not me saying, oh, yeah, I've caught about, 180, and they go, oh, have you got any information about that? Nah, I just sort of keep a bit of a tally on the boat or in my head, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's quite tangible. And the other thing which was very unique about the Groot Island fishery is our recapture rate. I mean, there was one particular year we had a 10% capture rate. That was a really poor season. In the fishing side of things, that is just ridiculous. We had, before I left, for the last about 5 or 6 years, we had the highest recapture rate in the world for billfish.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's because everyone's tagging them, so you get all the data. Because if people are just catching them and chucking them back, you could catch it tomorrow. You didn't even know that you caught it the day before.
Yeah, so the more tags you get in, the more you're going to catch down the track.
That's dead right.
Yeah.
And one thing I did learn over all the many years, and we've all done it, is we've all caught a billfish and pulled it out of the water and taken photos. But one thing I have learned is like handling of the fish. And I think the recapture rate went through the roof about 2012. And there was a few things that I'd reflected on as like years went on, why that happened. There's a few things. One, we started catching a lot more fish. So we sort of started catching them, and then we just catch them and let them go. Because if we had a day where we get 7 or 8 fish and you've already got a photo with one, it's like, well, you don't want to get a photo. You just tag it, pull it up, get the hook out, let it go.
Yep.
So that's what was happening in the end. So you'd sort of tag the fish, and we'd also learn like little things about how don't stop the boat, keep the water flowing, keep the fish in the water, keep the head in the water.
Yep.
You're looking after the fish, obviously, yep.
Yep. Get the fish going as quick as you can as well. That was the other thing. What I found when I did some stuff with the scientists was when we were satellite tagging them was they did a whole heap of autopsies and stuff on some of the fish, and when we picked the wrong ones and whatever. But basically, if you were swimming that fish alongside, I had a couple of fish that literally the longer you had them alongside while they were trying to do some surgical stuff on it, man, a couple of them died. Because they're just sort of hanging alongside, like you just haven't got them up, let them go. So I'd typically these days would get the fish up, pin it, or tag it, get the leader. I always try to do my best to get the hook out. I know some people just grab them and just ping them off, but they're only a small fish. I just try to, if I get the hook out, I just roll it out, get it, swim alongside, and then just send it off on its way as quick as I can so he can just go back and do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Recapture rates went through the roof, and I reckon there was a fair bit involved with just doing those processes that sort of probably helped statistically to get us to where we got to in the end.
Yeah.
For any of those sports fish, you just want to catch them, get them up, get them going. And they're at the end of the day, those billfish are such a supreme athlete. Like they're not like a barramundi that, like, barramundi, they're so hardy. Like they could just, slap on the bottom of the boat, and not saying you're going to leave it there for a minute, and then they just get in the water and off they go. Murray cod are like that as well.
Yeah.
It's like they can nearly live out of water.
Yeah, right.
Like it's a sailfish and that, like they just can't. I've seen it before with other people who, when we used to fish early days and before people were a bit more educated down south of Grout Island there, and you'd sort of say to them, mate, just simple stuff, keep the boat running and this, that, the other, because the fish would go belly up. They held it alongside for too long and just haven't had any trying to get this photo, trying to do this, and all these funky things. It's like, mate, if you've got the crew, get yourself all prepped up, get the photos, quickly get it up, release it quickly, get a couple of photos alongside, and off it goes.
Anyone who's bill wants to go bill fishing tomorrow, is it easy, difficult? And you use egg beaters, they're big ones. I mean, I've done game fishing with, a lot of overheads and real big reels. What's the basic sort of gear you need to head out there and catch a billfish?
Well, because I would typically always switch bait or pitch bait, that's why I prefer to use egg beaters, and I'm typically targeting some smaller fish when we lived on Grout Island, and even for the inshore stuff here in Exmouth, it's very similar. The problem is with bill fishing is unless you've had the experience or some exposure of what to do when the fish comes up and hooking it and that, and using baits is quite technical, I guess, with how it sort of gets rigged up and you use it and you got to get bait and then you'll go through the bait. So you need a whole swag of bait to do it. You're better off just starting off your career towing some lures around.
Yep.
At least you can just rock up, chuck a couple of, get your overheads, get like some, depending on the size of the marlin or sailfish you're targeting, it might be a Tigra 30 or a TLD 25 or TLD 30 for a smaller reel, up to a Tigra 50, a Tigra 80 for some of those bigger, those bigger fish. Get the leaders on, chuck some lures on, and mate, just go out there and just rip around.
Have a go.
And then just see and have a go. That way is what you do, I reckon, initially. And I sort of tell anyone, basically, that's how I started as well.
Yeah.
And then as you get addicted and you have problems and stuff, then you sort of start going to the next level.
Look for some birds.
I suppose because it's simpler, you can start learning what the ocean does. And
100%. It's the same with, that's what I'd always say for people bill fishing. It's like I love my trout fishing. People who want to go trout fishing and they go, oh, yeah, I'll see you go fly fishing, go and do this. It's like, mate, the first thing to go and do, go and get a little spin rod with a little lure and walk up the rivers or walk around the lakes. Just go and catch them. Sort of learn where the fish lie, what they do. Don't just go out in Hollywood and just think you're going to just go, oh, I'm just going to take up fly fishing for trout tomorrow. It's like, really?
You've got to learn the habitat and how things behave.
I mean, you're out catching your bait for them in the areas where they're feeding, aren't you?
That's right. That's what we would do on Grout. We would do that for sure. Again, every fishery is different. And as I've been lucky enough to talk to a lot of people and meet a lot of people fishing and fished a couple of areas for billfish, I have a bit of an understanding of what they do in different areas around the country. And it's different. That is one thing for sure. It is so different. Not everyone goes and rips lures. Blue marlin, different to black marlin, to sailfish, striped marlin, the seasonal side of things, where they are when they aren't here. We're so fortunate in Exmouth basically have an all year round bill fishery. It's just a joke that you actually have that. You go to like Groote Eylandt, yep, sure, they were caught there in every single month of the year. I caught them in 9 different months randomly, but that's sort of not that common. You go down the east coast, they get them down south coast to get striped marlin and some black marlin down there. And that's typically after Christmas, early in the year, depending on how the season went, where the currents ended up, how that all goes. So it's just like everywhere's different. They tow a lot of live baits. They don't, and they do some switch baiting. They don't sort of, go and skip garfish and stuff like that. Then you go to Broome and they just skip garfish and run teasers. And so on and so on. So it's just every fishery is bizarrely different for catching the same thing.
You were talking about how you got to look after those sailies. I was watching one of your videos the other night with Mason Cox, and you were talking about how hardy some of the fish are, like a barramundi. That little session you did on that boat in that creek, and there was barra flying through the air every couple of sets. You both had fish on, they're jumping off up against the boat.
Good. I like your name dropping there, Shane. That's deadly. I like the Mason Cox one, but I'll tell you what,
it was a bloody ripper.
That day was still the most ridiculous 3-hour barra session I've ever seen, with the size of the barra and how many.
Yep.
That was just amazing. But that's Blue Mud Bay. which was obviously is adjacent to Grout Island, which is like a fair admission. But we used to have crazy sessions like that over there, in those tiny little creeks, for all those barra. And mate, yeah, you're right. It was an amazing, and I'm glad I made that little video, because now and then I like to look back and
it's
remember.
exciting for people just to see the quality of the fish. I mean, I didn't see any real big ones there, but just the quality of them, and in that clear water. And you were putting your lure just about in the same spot every cast and getting another fish. It's not as if you had to travel too far once you got there, you know.
No, once we got into that creek, well, that particular creek we fished is only, geez, you can only fish at the mouth of it, or you go drive up 100 metres to where we were, and as you can see, it's pretty narrow, and you can only fish it at the top of the tide. So there's a few things over the years we did learn. That was the other one, barra fishing in Blue Mud Bay. There's a lot of stunt work and fall driving done in my boat, to learn where to go and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think you had a bit of fun getting in there, and the tide was getting a bit low, wasn't it, or something?
Oh yeah, yes. Now geez, the memories, mate. Yeah, I do remember that day now.
Yeah.
On the electric motor trying to get in, and geez, once we got in, it was just on like Donkey Kong.
Is that a game changer, electric motors?
Oh yeah, I wish I had that years ago for that barra fishing. Oh,
yeah.
Geez, that would have been saved me. There was so many things with fishing, hey, have changed over the years. You look back and you go, I remember when I got side imaging on my other boat.
Yep.
And that was just like, oh man, this is so good. I can just see those snags over there that I couldn't see before, and then that evolved into, oh yeah, that's fish there, and then it's the electric motor. And then the autopilot for bill fishing was just like on that newer boat that when I got the North Bank. And then in recent times, the live scope, or the Mega Live, or whatever the forward facing live sonar.
Yep.
That is just crazy. How you can actually fish with that these days, and also just see what the fish are doing. That's sort of taken it to a different level now, I think. Which, yeah, I don't know if you've used it much or seen it, but yeah, it is incredible to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah, I leave a lot of that stuff to my son. We've got a boat, we've got a leisure cat. We've put a lot of new equipment on it because it's like 25 years old, but I leave all that up to me 29-year-old son because I'm getting a bit old to understand a lot of that stuff. And I don't use it as much as you do. So.
No, well, I haven't. I have used it for my tinny and Exmouth once, but when we were travelling around Australia and a little bit in Exmouth and a few barra comps and stuff like that, we've sort of used it a couple of times. But there's people have different ideas on it. It's an expensive setup, I guess, to put it on your boat, and then there's the debate which you could go on forever about. Is it cheating or whatever to be able to see, those things that you couldn't otherwise see. Doesn't necessarily mean the fish is going to eat.
No.
You still got to make them eat. So I think, I don't know, the jury's out on it. I think for some people, just to sort of waltz into fishing and just chuck that on the front of your boat, go over to a headland or a lake, chuck it in, take a few photos of a few fish and go, geez, mate, I'm a bloody good fisherman, aren't I? I'd be like, mate, that's great. Yep. I'd love to see you go without it, and then try to think about what you got to do to make a fish bite without using that technology. So
yeah, guys like you've put all the hard work in over the years, and then come up with new technology like that.
Yeah.
You
still got to learn
yourself, wow, look at all the hard work we used to do to catch a fish.
Yeah, you still got to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
You still need to know a bit of nous,
Yeah,
exactly. Especially for people catching meter barras and meter cod and stuff like that. And I have to admit that I caught a couple of meter cod and I used the scope. One of them I watched eat the lure, which was amazing.
Wow.
The other one I saw, but I never saw him hit the lure. I thought he'd gone away, and I don't know, he just ended up smashing it at the boat. I never saw him. But of all the big barra I've caught, I never caught a metery with using the live scope, actually.
Yeah.
What are your goals up in Exmouth, fishing wise?
Well, mate, I haven't even moved back here for that long. My first goal is to stop renovating people's houses after nearly finishing my own house.
You're a builder, mate. That won't finish.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I know. I'm a sucker for just saying yes and helping people out, I think. Mate, I had You're gonna fall over when I tell you this. I had a list of 3 fish. I'm like, yep, I've got a bucket list. There's a few little bucket list fish I had in my life, and I sort of on Groot. I knew I wasn't going to get a swordfish. I knew I was going to get a blue marlin. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, I'll get them over here. That's something I'll do. I'll tick them off.
Yep.
And the other one is fly fishing for a permit. Now, even though there were permit on Groot, I never really wasted any time on them. I was just like, it's too logistically hard in our boat. And
We know someone
So I
who
got-
does that up there, mate.
Yeah, we know a bloke over there who's good at them.
really,
Yeah.
We do. We bet.
Deacon Plant.
Deacon, yeah, well,
Makes his own flies.
Deacon lives down the road from me actually.
I went to school with Deacon.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be definitely chatting to Deacon. I'll definitely have a couple of beers during the off season. So I've I've spent a few days looking for the permit with no avail. The blue marlin took me about 2 hours once we got out there to get one, which I sort of half knew was going to be the case because it's
Out in 1,000 metres or something like that.
yeah, I wasn't far out. I did love the fact when I went out there, hadn't even been in Exmouth for a week, and my neighbour goes, "Mate, we should go for a fish." And I'm like, "Yes, of course I'm going to go for a fish."
I'm not going to say no to that.
I'm not going to. I can have a day off renovating this 40-degree heat. That's fine. So we ducked out. A couple of hours later, I said to him, "Oh mate, I'll just golden horseshoe something here." Yep, bang, blue marlin. I'm like, oh yeah, sweet, tick that one off. That's good. There, that's
That didn't take long.
Just
Nah.
no worries.
Don't worry, it gets worse. He said to me, "Oh, must have been about a month ago." He goes, "Oh, I'm going to go out for a swordfish. Would you be keen to come out?" I said, "Bloody oath, I'm keen as. I've got a bit of an idea how this circus works, so let's go." Got out there, 6 minutes in, dunk. That's got to be a bite. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Couple of minutes later, we're fish on. Here's a 45-kilo
No
swordfish
way.
next to the boat. I'm just like, oh my God, this is a joke.
Wow. Some people go for years trying to catch them and never get them.
Oh, I know, but we used to have a bit of a joke about the golden horseshoe that's shoved somewhere that I sort of seem to tenace, but
a lot of the time
anyway.
It's got to do with experience and knowledge, mate.
You don't just get it without.
luck. I'll take it. There's a lot of luck on that one.
Wasn't the moon, wasn't the tide, wasn't anything like that.
I'm sure there was plenty of preparation.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, stop working and we're going the next day.
Yeah. Put the hammer down and grab the rod.
Yep.
Yeah, and a few beers. So yeah, no, that was good fun. But yeah, the permit, mate, that's the one I'm really intrigued and to go and waste a lot of time on. So yeah, I will be in touch with Deacon, and that's what I do love about the fishing community up here is you get connected with people pretty quickly, and they're all pretty good guys, to be honest, and everyone sort of
Absolutely.
make pretty quick friends. Yeah, and I know that he's a mad fly fisherman. I wouldn't say I'm a fly fisherman. I'd say I fly fish.
Yep.
I saw you catch a barra with a fly.
No, actually, I do. I reckon I will have one on in though. I did catch a red emperor on fly when I was on Groot. Actually, that's what I did tick off before I left. I got a couple of mates onto those reds because he'd catch them in the shallowest of shallow water. Like I think the shallowest I ever caught one would have been about 700 mil on the sand on the beach.
Yeah, wow.
How did you know about a spot tail bass in the Solomon Islands?
Oh, geez, you have. I reckon if I got interviewed by the police, they would not ask me as detailed questions. I could be in court for, I don't even know, for bloody manslaughter or.
Do you know something? It's winter down here. It's about 5 degrees and the shop's very quiet, mate. I have plenty of time at this time of the year.
Oh, no. Spot tail bass. Yeah, well, that was one we.
You have time.
Were you fit enough?
I was a lot fitter then than what I am now.
That was a journey, wasn't it?
Mate, that was the most amazing experience to go. We had, oh, geez, you've really got me now on that one. That was a classic. So I had a mate who was living in Darwin who used to fish Barra Nationals with him. Anyway, he moved over there. Anyway, he said to me and Albie, "Yes, boys, mate, I'm going to be leaving soon. You've got to get over here, come over for a fish." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So we went over. It was just a wild adventure. Anyway, we stayed at this tiny little island, and old mate goes, "Mate, can we get up into those jungle creeks and try to catch a spot tail bass?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, we can." So we had to drive another hour on the boat to pick up this other guy off this other island. to then give us access up there. We picked up these two other lads, and they had to chop us a track through. Now, I've fished in a few like remote places, isolated places. We must have walked. We drove up that river till you couldn't go any further, hit rock bars, all sorts of stuff, jumped out. There was no sign of any human life or a track or anything. These guys had to just go with these massive bush knives and just start cutting and bush bashing through so that we could just get through to get access to parts of the river.
It looked fantastic where you were. Just, tropical jungle, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was an amazing experience. They weren't massive fish from what I've understand, but in all honesty, I didn't really care. It was just so cool to catch one, and we got a couple.
They did seem like probably about, 4 or 5 kilos or something, though?
Yeah. It would have been at least 4 kilo.
Pretty big in a small creek or, small river like that. Mm.
Oh, yeah, and just bang, that first one was just, I was so stoked.
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted to go on that whole journey and not get one, though, would you?
Oh, we'd got a lot of fish out on the reef, and we had our first experience with proper GT fishing, casting the big popper rods and that, and went for the full workout. And I tell you what, it was a bit of a reprieve on the back just to go for a hike all day. You know what I mean? Rather than
and to see what the locals do too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, mate, it was amazing. That was a cool trip.
One-off experience. So cool. That one.
Amazing.
I don't think there's many fish around the place that you haven't caught.
No.
Trout, Murray cod. My old man grew up on the Murray River in Redcliffs, just near Mildura. And they used to talk about that all the time, about all their exploits out in the river in their little punts catching Murray cod. Have to get rid of all the, what are they, the carp, the bloody shockers that are in the river up there and still trying. But you caught a couple of ripper Murray cod, didn't you?
Yeah, we were at Lake Eildon, staying at Mansfield for a little while, just helping a mate out there. Oh, again, helping someone out.
They're beautiful fish.
Oh, unbelievable. But because the trout fishing had been so slow, I thought, well, this was probably my opportunity while we were over there for a few months to whenever I had a chance, rather than go trout fishing, I was like, no, I'm gonna have a proper go at catching these cod. And I did that for a few months in Lake Eildon, which was amazing. Like I've caught a few in little ones in the rivers, and it's not bad ones, but in the lake, man, I was out there for I spent a lot of time. They are the most spectacular looking fish in real life. They are amazing. They hit so hard. Like they would have to be one of the hardest hitting fish on a lure, but then at the same breath, one of the worst fighting fish.
Oh, really?
Big log, is it?
Oh, mate, just go and bring that plastic bag in that you snagged up. That would fight nearly better. I'm sorry to say. But, in all honesty, if you said, oh, man, we're going on a cod mission, this, that, the other, I would definitely, it's not a species I'm going to go, oh, I'm not going, I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
It's no, that'd be really cool. Definitely go and get the cod. It was so wicked.
After your all your travels around Australia, when you took your little tinny around and you did a bit of fishing in Tassie for trout and that, where's the place you'd love to go back to tomorrow?
Well, that's a hard question. I mean, are you saying when I've travelled or just if in Australia?
Yeah, mainly in Australia.
My favourite place would, if I had any choice to do anything, I would go sail fishing south of Groote, because that was just my greatest adrenaline rush, and it's not really something that people, unfortunately, as a tourist, would be able to go and probably experience too easily.
Yeah.
I would say a place that I absolutely love is the Snowy Mountains in some of those mountain streams. I absolutely love that. That is just a pristine environment. And if you're there in summer on a good grasshopper day when it's not nice and warm and clear, and you're just fishing in those little creeks, and then, mate, some of those little creeks have got some donkey trout in them. They're like a tiny, not even knee deep, and you're pulling out 5-6 pound browns that are just smashing a grasshopper as it hits the water, and you're on a 6-weight or a 5-weight fly rod.
It's beautiful country up there.
And just hunting those fish out in the shallows and sort of doing that, I do love that. And that's where I did a lot of trout fishing when I was younger out of Melbourne with one of my best mates, and that's what's sort of always been.
That's what took you in there.
that's what sort of sucked me in
Yeah.
with the trout. That's for sure. I do love my trout fishing. And I sort of like fished here, there, and everywhere a little bit.
You've been all over the world for them, haven't you?
Yeah, that's my one. I'm not that's my one weak point. If there's a trout somewhere, I'd be sort of, I used to go on those trips, especially because we lived so far away when we lived on Groote for so many years. The one thing I'd do to go off island would be like people go, you go fishing or whatever, it'd be only going trout fishing. That's all or if I went and fished the Barramundi or something silly.
Yeah.
You'd go and do that. Otherwise, mate, if it was trout somewhere, I'd sort of like try to suss out where there was a trout or something like that. So I've been pretty fortunate really with that, and I do love the environment. And if you've never done that, I highly recommend going to a really pristine alpine system, either in Australia or even overseas, and have a look.
Yeah.
And have a go at it. It is something different.
There's a lot of guides too that'll take you trout fishing too in Tassie and other places around the world.
Oh, 100%. The Western Lakes in Tassie are amazing. Like to hike into those, and we've done some stupid hikes in there for a few days. Where you take everything in with you, and you just hike around these lakes. And from a fishing perspective, you might only get a few shots at some of these wild brown trout up in those little shallow lakes, and you walk around for hours and hours, and then you find one, and then you spook it because you did the cast wasn't perfect or something like that, or he moves and then he rejects your fly, and it's off to the next thing. Like, mate, they're not those wily old brown trout for any other reason. They're so challenging. And I think that's probably why it's enjoyable. You know what I mean? It's not like just getting a school of barras in the runoff. They're just eating a little, plastic and just going dunk one after another and cast after cast.
You got to use your head a bit.
Got to work for it. And
yeah, it's just so much more rewarding, I think, when you do go fish for those ones. It's good to go and do the other ones, don't get me wrong. If you see a massive school of queenies and it's just like an hour of just constantly hooking up, or a big school of salmon down your way or whatever, it's good fun to go and do it. But I'll tell you what, there's something else about just, going out for the day and then just searching and looking for something to try to make it work. I have done like an 8-hour day up here with the fly rod on the front of my electric, looking for a permit, never saw one, did 8 hours. And you tell people that who aren't really stupidly into their fishing and don't understand what a permit is.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, you didn't catch a fish and you're out there all day. Why would you bother going? That's just stupid. And it's just like, yeah, I know, mate, but
there's something about being out on the water though.
yeah, it's a different place.
I go to Coral Bay every second year, and I don't even go there fishing now. I just go out on the boat. If I get a free ride with my brother, which I can most of the time, just to see the wildlife out there. You might not catch anything, but it's incredible what you see up there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So you imagine if you're out there every day. The more days you spend out there, the more you see.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's about, 40,000 whales going up the coast now all the time, which is incredible fun too.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Saw a heap of them the other day, and we just went and pulled up actually next to a couple of them for about 3 minutes, turned the boat off and just drifted next to them while they just put a show on.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
What is the craziest thing you've seen out there over all your years?
Triple hookup sailfish on the one rod or something?
No. Well, we've caught plenty of like 2 fish on the one lure and all that jazz. No, the craziest thing, I think the craziest thing would have to be when we were on, it was late October. It was a pretty good billfish season on Groote. And we had these things called false killer whales. You might have heard of them.
Yeah.
They're usually pods, and there's a pod that runs north of Groot up towards Gove and whatever. Anyway, we've been down south, and we'd caught a couple of sails, and we'd come up, and I said to the boys on the boat, I said, "Oh, geez, it must be a pod of false killer whales up there." I could see a dorsal out of the water. Anyway, they're like, "Oh yeah, said, we'll keep going up. We'll have a look. Put the billfish gear out. We're going up, and then I've just gone, fellas, that's not false killer whales. They're real killer whales." There was a pod of 7 real killer whales. We followed them for about half an hour, took photos. We had photos on the front of the newspaper, the Sunday Times. I think it was the second ever sighting of orcas or killer whales in the Northern Territory, and that was in late October when the surface temperature would have been about 28.
Wow.
Like, I know that's not crazy to see. I think it was just circumstantially that is crazy to think Northern Territory to see these orcas. That was probably Yeah, the one thing that I thought, geez, that's so weird. Like we'd seen everything else up there, you know,
What
whales,
are they
whale
doing here
sharks.
type thing?
Yeah, what are 7
A
killer
family.
whales doing?
Yeah.
They've gone on a free holiday and got ripped off and didn't get the other ticket back, or I don't know what happened.
Do you eat fish, Bomber?
I do eat fish.
What's your favourite?
Well, I've had a West Australian jewfish for a while. I would always say that West Australian jewfish was number one. But I had I went through Coffin Bay and my mate took me out fishing and we caught a couple of those nanagai,
Oh, yeah.
the southern nanagai.
So the bite redfish?
Yeah.
Yes, bite redfish. Okay, I haven't heard that one
So
before.
if that's Coffin Bay, the Great Australian Bite, we have them down here. They're a school fish, and I get 200 kilos at a time that we've got to fillet. I presume that would be an nanagai that you've caught in Coffin Bay. They would be
They're different to those northern nanagais.
They're called a bite redfish
Totally.
because of the Great Australian Bite. Yep.
And a very bizarre scale system when you rub your hand over them as well, which was cool. Schooling fish, caught a swag of them.
Yep.
Even brought some back here to Exmouth. It was amazing to eat. Had a bit of a dinner party in our first couple of weeks of being back with the neighbours.
They got the pin bone in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that
So
little
weird to
knob
feel it.
behind their stomach.
Yeah, I got to fillet them all the time, and they got the sharpest scales that you'd ever have on a fish.
Weird.
Yeah.
I definitely rate them as one of the best fish to eat. Largemouth nanagai are good.
Yep.
Threadfin salmon.
Yep.
I do like threadfin salmon. If I get, if we were barra fishing, we got a threadfin. It's a dead fin, mate. It's in. That's getting eaten that night. I'll give you the red hot tip. One fish I would say that you mightn't. I don't think you'll ever see it commercially, but which I used to eat a little bit, but until I found out how old they are, stopped eating them. Is a fish called an estuary perch.
Yeah. I've heard of them.
Yeah, I love estuary perch to catch. They're like little barras of the south. They're a little bit like a bass.
Yeah.
They are magnificent eating. Absolutely magnificent. But yeah, don't
all go back in the water now. Yep.
You know, after fishing in the Northern Territory, they have run a different sort of show up there with the fisheries, and there's not many size limits on fish. Actually, there's only size limits on mud crabs and barra. Oh, and mangrove jacks, actually. Mangrove jacks have got to be over 35.
And what is the story with barra? I mean, you got 2 size limits, haven't you? Or like a small and a large, or?
That depends where you are in Queensland or whatever. The Territory, there's no upper size limit.
Yeah.
It's just got to be over 55, and depending on the system, how many you can keep, it could be 5 or it could be 3, depending.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Where you are.
It's different up there because of the barra trauma. So what I used to find is to go out fishing, and then with barra trauma, I was pretty disciplined. I'd go out and catch, say, some largemouth nanagai. They'd be pretty small. Just catch them. People go, oh, they're too small. It's like, mate, you can't put them back. They're dead. So I might as well just. They've got the rules set up in the Northern Territory to suit that, as long as you're disciplined enough to do the right thing. And I just sort of, the way I saw it was like, mate, it's dead. You might as well just keep it, and you can go and move on. And if today's the day you get a couple of big ones, well, you get a couple of big ones, you get a few small ones. So be it. Don't worry about it. You've already killed it.
They've changed the rules with WA jewfish now. That used to be a size limit, but now you're only allowed 1 anyway per person or 2 on a boat. And one per license and two on a boat.
2 per boat,
but what they've done now is if you catch one, you have to keep it. Doesn't matter what size it is. So there's a lot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
from my perspective, that's good. So I think that's what you got to do when you've got the science. Like I'd always say, if you've got data to back up, you know that doesn't work, then that's where I think. That's where it's like tangible to go, right, let's just change that. That doesn't suit.
And they are endangered. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you catch one and you keep it, that's it. Finished story over. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
for something that's endangered, yeah. With all your travels, Bomber, we always ask our guests about a unique eating experience that other people might enjoy. What have you experienced on your travels? I know you've been to Spain and a few other countries over that way. Anything that you think?
Can I say what I didn't know way I was going to eat, but when I was in Iceland, some of the shit that was on the menu.
Yep, that works.
Would you go and eat minke whale?
Minky
Oh,
whale.
yeah, probably not.
I saw minke whale over there, and the other one was. Have you ever heard of a bird called? I think it's a puffin.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what they look
Yeah,
like. They're pretty special looking.
My son
Yep.
loves a TV show called Puff and Rock.
Yeah, well, puffin. When we were up there, we saw a couple of puffins, but I didn't realise that you could get them and eat them as pate.
Oh. Most people probably don't.
Did you try them with a cracker?
No, because Polly wasn't there. Nah, mate, that was some of the weirdest stuff I'd seen. I think when it comes to traveling overseas, Spain, Italy, you can do no wrong. Probably my red hot tip if you go over there is starve yourself flat out for about a month before you get there, and then be prepared
up.
to not eat for a month when you get back. You're just going to be blown away with the quality of the food, mate.
Oh,
You
right.
go to the supermarket, do whatever. It doesn't matter. It is just at another level. We are ripped off in Australia with food that gets sent overseas, and what some of those European countries do is just like a joke.
Yeah.
So
we are.
that's my food thing, and I don't mind eating. That's one thing I'm actually fairly good at. I'm a pretty good eater.
But we're still a bit backward in the Wild West, aren't we?
Yeah.
Have you done many game X's up there?
I fished Game X this year, just borrowed my neighbour's boat and fished it with a couple of mates. One mate that came from Groot and another mate that came from Darwin who used to live on Groot, who were basically our old Billfish comp team on Groot.
Yeah, great comp, isn't it?
And it's amazing. It is one of the best comps. All the people are just good. It's just there's no BS in it, which is awesome. You have a good chat to people. That's what I've really enjoyed every time I've come back to Exmouth to fish the comp. I fished a couple of other times previously and helped out with a couple of things over the years. But all really good people, happy to help and have a good yarn about fishing and have a few beers and have a good time,
Yeah.
Great comp.
I did it in 2019 and it was 40 degrees every single day we went out. And, I mean, there's a lot of cover on Burns boats, but the thing is when you're out there and you're throwing those teasers in and there's like 10 lines in the water, you got Christmas trees hanging over the side and everything else. You're out in the sun most of the day, and myself and my son, when we finished, we went into the pot shot for 3 days. We got a room and we never come out for 3 days. It was that hot.
Oh, yeah.
March is a hot month up there. It's incredible.
Yeah. You've got to, I mean, we've lived in the territory and like I didn't mind it this year. Like, geez, yesterday I wore a hoodie all day up here.
It's only about 21, 22 at the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
That's right. It's freezing. So I think
Come down here and we'll show
Hey,
you
we had
freezing.
10 degrees yesterday down here.
Did it even make 10?
I don't think it even got to 10 yesterday.
that's illegal.
Yeah,
Let-
it was torture.
Lake Grace got snow last night
Oh, there you go. See, that's just, oh, geez, I don't know how you do that.
out in the middle
This
of the
is-
farming area.
Well, now we're back here in Exmouth. This is the first winter we've gone through since we lived in Coral Bay 20 years ago. So this has been quite brutal because we're used to territory. And if you haven't been to the territory, don't go in November. You reckon that was hot?
Yeah.
What you experienced, you will roll over and die.
Yeah.
So hydration is so important with that stuff, and I'm always like very aware of that after all the years living on Groot and having so many people fish with us. I'm just like really particular with that, and even if it is really, really hot, hydrolyte, once a day getting a hydrolyte, but otherwise getting the water up really early before you roll over.
Yep.
And plenty of beers after that. Once you're really well hydrated, then you're right. Then you
Good
can
to
just
go.
tap into them and you're good to go, mate.
Yeah, it's quite nice in the evenings,
done
though,
your
isn't
prep
it?
for the day.
When the sun goes
Yeah.
down and it's beautiful. When you got a hot day, you
Yeah.
can't beat those
Yes.
nights. Yeah,
No.
they're great.
Exactly. So while I'm on your podcast, because who knows who's listening, they might want to get in touch with me because the other thing that I do specialise in is hydration.
Yep. Fire away.
Is a hydration specialist. So I'm happy to sort of, get paid to be a hydration specialist. I do consultancy work mainly on boats about hydration and how much you should be drinking, different types of drinks that you can drink to
Yep.
be extra hydrated. when you get home from drinking on the boat and hydrating at home, hydration.
So he's not an alcohol rep, is he?
No, obviously not.
No.
What sort of hydration?
Where do we find you?
Well, mainly at the bottle shop. That's where it starts. You've got to be really particular with your selection.
I thought you might have been a 4 and 20 rep.
Come on.
And a tomato sauce rep. I did watch a couple of your videos. There was a lot of sauce on those meat pies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you spoke to a couple of my mates who were just like, it's like nearly you've called Taro or someone and said, "Oh, what could you give us on this block?" And you said tomato sauce.
Well, you have put a few videos out there, mate. It's not that hard to find you.
Oh, yeah, that was back in the day.
It's good.
Back in the olden days, it was pretty funny.
I actually get a lot of, because, Chunk and I, we love fishing, but we don't do, as much as we'd like to. We're going to the Mackerel Islands next year on the Western Angler trip. But
good.
we like to find out as much information as we can. And since we started doing this pod and we're researching, but it's fantastic because the knowledge. I was watching you tie knots the other night and doing mackerel rigs and things like that, which you don't think, but they're quite actually simple to do. It's great knowledge. If I was to go out, I'd probably do what I was watching you do the other day. So, I mean, the more videos that people can put out and help people like ourselves, once we do go fishing, it's really good.
No, I appreciate that. That's good. I'm more than happy to, pass any bit of knowledge that I've learnt the hard way, or just I do spend a bit of time thinking about things at times, and I just sort of think, how could you do this, and come up with an idea or a theory, And I've had a couple of times where, what was I doing the other day? And I don't think anything of it. I'll be fishing with someone who I really respect as like a really knowledgeable, good fisherman or something like that, and I think, oh, geez, they're not going to sort of take anything like from me, and then they sort of said, geez, that's amazing. Why do you put your lure on the hook onto your rod like that? And I just explained what I did, and I was like, oh, I never even thought of that. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I've said that, I've half stitched myself up by saying,
no,
you're obviously a practical sort of guy, with how your thoughts are.
Yeah, that's right. So this is one just if you've got lures that have got like more than one set of trebles on it.
Yep.
And everyone just gets the bottom treble, the furthest one away from where the tie point is, and they loop that onto either the keeper or onto the eyelet of their fishing rod. See, what I'll do is I'll see people and go, no, don't do that. You put the top treble goes onto either the keeper or onto the eyelet. And when you put it onto the eyelet, you don't put it where the line goes.
Yep.
Okay. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, because that does, you could damage the lining of the.
Yeah.
But I said the other thing is if you put it into the top one, you've got the lure can't flap around and smash into your rod, especially on barra rods. So then you don't have breakages on your rods because that lure has just been smashing against your rod. Because the 150 or 120 mil, 200 mil lure just banging against your rod all day. It's sort of like things like that you see over time and you change it. And then it's funny how I do that. And then a couple of people have been on the boat, they learn pretty quickly, that's how you got to keep the lure. But then you go fishing with them years later, mate, they still do exactly what I sort of showed them.
Yeah.
10 years ago, they still do it. It's like, oh, yes, mate, I've had a little bit of an impact there. That's good.
That's cool.
That is.
Bomber, is the sailfish the fastest swimming fish in the ocean?
Yes.
It is. Yeah, right.
88 kilometres an hour, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, that's loose. Are you going back to Groot next year for the big 40th fishing comp?
Oh, mate, to be honest, I'd say no. I'm still funnily enough helping out a mate up there organising the comp though.
Yeah. You'd say no, but that's a year away.
That's right. Anything can happen, mate.
Yep.
I'm not going this year. This will be my first year not going. I'm going over to fish the Barrabash Hinchinbrook in September, which I fished the last couple of years. And we'll be having a red hot crack this year and try to hoist the trophy, mate.
Yeah.
I think we'll let you go, seeing you're a busy boy by the look of it. And Chunk tells me you've got a pool coming tomorrow or something.
Oh, mate, tomorrow is D-Day. We've got the pool blokes rocking up, and then I've also got the boat shed. I've got a little working bee with a couple of mates who are going to come over and dig all the footings.
Yeah, right.
Make sure you're hydrated. Start early.
Exactly. Start early. See, if I've had any influence or impact on you, that's all you need to take
Oh, you
away
don't
from
need to
this.
influence me there.
We're hydrating
And-
experts you're talking to.
And when you're hydrating, get onto that. But also, don't be afraid to have a Yeti martini a bit later in the day if you start feeling a bit weary.
Yeah. If you ever want any help with being hydrated, you go to Coral Bay and see me brother.
Maybe after the years off with Bernie, that's probably inspired me and helped me along as
Oh,
well.
that's what's happened. Yeah.
That's it. He's a good Hawthorn man as well, you know.
Oh, crazy
In the
Hawthorn
blood.
man, yeah. Yeah,
In the blood, mate.
I can't say much at the moment because I actually had two brothers. Our oldest who passed away last year, but he was a mad Hawthorn as well. So I've been a bit more eagle-ish, but I'm not saying too much these days. I'm backing the Hawks.
Yeah.
Go the Hawks.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks
Bomber,
for coming on,
appreciate
Bomber.
it heaps, mate.
Thanks for your time.
No, absolute pleasure, mate. And it's been an absolute awesome experience, and I loved the research that you've done.
We get up there now and then, mate, so we'll pop in and say hello. And
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
come
yeah.
and I'll have a few hydration tips for you.
yeah.
Yep.
And we'll just even do some. What I also
We'll
like to
just
do
go to Deacon and see him about going fishing. Then
I look
you can
forward
just
to
help
those
with
tips.
the hydration.
Yeah, well, mate, we can talk about hydration, but it's also good to do a few practical experiences
Yeah.
with hydration. So after you've seen Deacon, you just drop past me.
We'll come up in March when it's hot enough to be well hydrated.
Oh, that's when we do our best work.
Good luck with the house.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, fellas.
Cheers,
Appreciate
Bomber.
it,
See
mate.
ya.
See ya. This episode is sponsored by Hooked on Middleton Beach, twice voted Australia's best fish and chips, 2018 and 2024.